welcome back to the It's Beyond Me podcast. I'm your host, Freddie T.
And your girl, Drift Nasty.
And today we're going to talk about the 10 most woke states in America.
And do you want to go ahead and elaborate to them what woke means?
Woke is a slang term that is commonly used to describe being politically aware or socially conscious.
To be woke is to be born again, to see the world anew and feel a need to awaken others to the truth.
You know,
it started out with race. It used to just be an African American thing for being aware of your racist surroundings, and then it has slowly dwindled down to being LGBTQ and all sorts of things. Now you can be woke about anything in social reality. And when they're talking about some of the most wokest states, right, in America, we have number 1, California. I'm not surprised. How about you? Massachusetts, New York, Oregon, Washington, Vermont, Colorado, Illinois, Rhode Island, and Hawaii. Those are your wokest states. And basically they're saying they're more progressive and more willing to accept anything coming their way. They have no standards.
I mean, some states are more woke than others. The majority of the states will be more democratic states. It's a given. But at the same time, it's, being woke and being ignorant can be misconstrued, Just because you call yourself woke doesn't mean that you actually are. Because the problem is a lot of people hide behind that label woke to hide their prejudice against others.
Yep.
And at the same time, I kind of feel like some people think they're woke, but they actually end up coming off ignorant because they're not open to other ideas. They're not open to certain histories about how things ended up the way they are.
Or
because
other people, anything.
Or other people. Because the problem that's there right now is we've become so PC that we've destroyed the past. We've erased any proof of what happened in the past, be it slavery, be it the race issues that our country has gone through over the years, to the extent that now the present day, like kids these days don't know. Hell, some kids are being told that the slavery was, how did they say it? They said it was a choice. And then some people would say they told that it was, what was it? Some moving? Where they said it was like relocation. They say voluntary relocation.
There's multiple stories, because basically the gist of what I got from when I was in school and what they were saying in history class to all of us was that white people got on the ship and went and stole a bunch of people from Africa and brought them over here to build up their land. So, and that narrative was ran with so much from the area that I'm from down in Florida, that if you told somebody no, it was actually a business transaction, they look at you like you're crazy, like you're just trying to defend whiteness.
When I was in South Africa, when I was growing up, I was always told that slavery was a business transaction. Because the thing is, when we study our history, we wonder how, if you ever study the Zulu War between the British, they had spears and shields, but all through their war, after a while, we had guns. So how did we trade for the guns? We were trading people, livestock, and other. And under the people and other are slaves. It's been a common practice over the years, be it through Egypt, through whatever. But the funniest part about it is, during this trade, the slave trade, the Brits and white people actually were not the main people trading slaves.
Drum roll. It was the Spaniards.
The Spaniards.
But white people get the brunt of it all the time. All the time we're told how we're the bad people. Whatever.
People forget that slavery itself is an old trade. But the only difference that makes it different from American slavery different is that unlike the slavery in other countries, slaves in America, there was no expiration date. Because slavery is technically indentured servitude. But the problem is in America, they had no end date on when the slavery would end. And then the difference also was your kids would grow up as slaves. In other countries, your kids weren't slaves. You were the slave, not your kids.
And slavery technically didn't end. I mean, they just hide it under other names. Prison is basically slavery.
I mean, during these days, I've been locked up in Texas before, and I'll tell anybody straight up, you work the field. That's common practice.
You work the
Everybody knows
field,
it.
even if you're
You
in the
farm what you eat.
states. Even if you're in the states where you're not farming, you're being held somewhere against your will where you don't want to be for a very extended amount of time. We can't even lie and say that the terms of sentencing has got ridiculous. And the whole time that you're in there, the state is making money off you. The government makes money off of you. So yeah, it's still it's slavery in its own form. It's just it's given a different name under technicalities, but it never ended.
You know, the problem is that at the end of the day, whether it's the law holding you down or whatever, we're all a slave to the system. We are all a cog to the system that we call life. So the whole issue is everybody wants to be woke. Everybody wants to say this and that and say they're fighting for something, which is cool. And I feel it. More power to you. I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, people also have to be realistic. It's gotten ridiculous these days. You can't even go to a comedy show and listen to blatant comedy like we used to.
Because somebody gets butthurt.
Everybody's
fighting for the wrong causes.
People fail to understand that you can't have comedians like the old school Bernie Macs, the Richard Pryors, the shock jocks that we all grew up watching. Because you know why? Because everybody's so PC, somebody says their feelings are hurt. So instead of sucking it up like a grown-ass man and just moving on to the next joke, they can't. You got people attacking comedians. Why do you even pay for a ticket? If you don't like a comedian, you have the right to walk out. You are not forced to listen to what the comedian's saying. I mean, when I moved from South Africa, I thought I was moving to America. Land of freedom of speech. The land where a person's free to express themselves and be themselves. The land where a comedian can tell a joke and everybody laugh at it, and whoever doesn't like it can walk out the door and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that ended, because it seems like it ended just in a few years, because 5 years ago, you could go to a comedy place and listen to jokes. These days, a lot of jokes are so censored that you can't really enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and God forbid, like, how many of them have you seen on TikTok, right? Mm-hmm. And there'll be these white comedians, obviously they're talking to a variety of people, and have a variety of people in the audience. And they have to be careful about the way that they tell jokes so they don't insult their audience. It's like, seriously, now they have to tiptoe around what they're going to say to you, to the point to where you don't even get the joke, or it's not even funny because now you're aggravated that it's so PC in here that you can't enjoy yourself, like you said. It's crazy, man. Everybody should be able to express themselves however they want to. You ain't got to agree with it. You ain't got to like it. That's the beauty of it.
Comedy is one thing. And yes, there's some tasteful jokes and there's some distasteful,
but they still should be allowed to say them.
Exactly. But, at the end of the day, people need to, being woke, to me, in my eyes, being woke is being able to listen, appreciate, and recognize what's going on around you.
Yeah, to be intelligent. That's what wokeness means to me, is to be intelligent and to be aware. Not for you to hide behind it for your ulterior motives, whether it be race or gender or whatever it is that we're going to be upset about this week. That's not wokeness.
Because the problem that's there right now is everybody hides behind the civil rights movement. They hide behind the fighting for people. They hide behind all these little labels that they want to put on themselves. But at the end of the day, they don't take accountability for the fact that when they're doing some of this stuff, they're doing the same thing that they're accusing other people of doing.
Yeah.
They're over here and, infringing on another person's rights in order to get what they want to get. Some people are over here calling themselves, activists, but at the same time, they're coming out,
coming off supremacists.
Yeah.
Whether it be white supremacists, black supremacists, gay supremacists, is what it's looking like. Might just be a word soon. So I mean, it's somebody wanting supremacy over others. It's not a fight for equality.
Right. Yeah. Because if you're fighting for a right, you're fighting for equality. But what I've been hearing lately is not fighting for equality. What people are fighting for is a supremacy. It's more like everybody wants to prove which gender, which race, which sexuality is the supreme one, is the one that's the most dominant, which doesn't matter. In this day and age, we shouldn't be at that situation. In this day and age, we should be working together, all of us, to just make it a better place for our kids or for our kids' kids.
Yeah. The world around us is changing. People's dying all the time over stupid things, too. On top of that, you got the gangs is getting out of control. And that comes from young, dumb kids trying to be grown, basically. It kind of all intertwines because it comes back to that prison thing. When you got all the dads locked up and things like that, to where they can't be there to be figures in their children's lives, and you end up with them seeking that attention from somewhere else, and then they go to these gangs, and then they teach them a whole wrong way of life because the gangs ain't what they used to be. I'm sorry, they're not. And so, yeah, it's kind of like a domino effect of everything on how it's working. The world is turning into a crazy place out there. It's not even safe for kids, no joke. The kids can't even go to YMCA without having schlong in their face. It's something else. It is crazy out here. That's what everybody needs to be getting mad about and coming up with trying to make changes for, is what they're trying to do to social life. Not worried about all this other mess. About, oh, well, what if I want my penis cut off? What if I want my twat turned inside out? However they're doing it. Like, that is totally irrelevant to anything going on in the world. It's not going to help nobody. And we can't even afford nothing. Don't even get me started on that. Can't nobody even afford to live out here. On top of it all, you can afford a gun and ammo and all that, but you can't even afford eggs anymore. And I'm not saying take out the guns. I'm pro-gun. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. But I'm saying a gun is more affordable in the range of what you would think a gun would cost compared to what groceries is. Compared to what gas is for a week for the average person having to drive to and from work that don't live in town where their job is at. You can't afford nothing.
Well, I mean, this is how we feel about this topic. At the end of the day, I would like to hear from you guys and see how y'all feel about this topic. Please like and comment, and we will get back to you. We do reply to our comments, so don't think we don't see them. We do reply to them, and we do see them. So please comment, please reply. We do want to get your input. And it's been another exciting episode of It's Beyond Me.
And it's your girl, Drift Nasty.
Freddie T.
We'll see y'all again next week.